revelation of cash balances.
Think about an address is the ownership of this particular platform. Why it is privately owned is something that we may need answers for.
Hoya guys, back to our YouTube channel. Na ndo maana watu wamekuwa kiuliza kwamba why is it that government inalalamika kwamba hizi pesa wa Kenya wanalipa wakati ambapo wanaenda huduma mahali popote kuhudumiwa na government ama kwa kuhudumiwa na kitengo cha government, utakuta kwamba hizi pesa zinalipwa na e-citizen na unarejeshewa message. Na ndio watu wamekuwa kiuliza kwamba hizi do zinaenda wapi, because government pia ina confirm ya kwamba hizi do haziendi kwao. Unaona watu wangu, zinaenda wapi? So na karibuni tena niendelee kupakulia jinsi ambavyo mambo yanajaribu kufanyika hapa nchini Kenya. Hey, experts in TV47 wamejaribu kujaribu ile wakati pia guys, hii story ya SHA nilikwambia kwamba hii story ya SHA pia ilianza tu hivi, but baadaye William Ruto aliamua kufanya nini? Kurealize ya kwamba Wakenya wanafuatilia zaidi, na ilikuwa inaoniwa na his close people. Unaona watu wangu, ndio walikuwa na on SHA, and that's why unaona in SHA William Ruto akaamua kufanya nini? Kubadilisha system, ndiposa government ikaanza ku-on. Unaona watu wangu. So now kabla tufike pale tuangalie ni nani ana on hii e-citizen. Juu kilipia do unaona tu message e-citizen confirmed. Bado haiendi kwa serikali. Unaona watu wangu. Kabla tufike pale, kitu ya kwanza tunataka tuangalie jinsi ambavyo Nigerians wamereactia Pastor Owuor baada kudanganya dunia kwamba kudanganya watu kwamba dunia itaisha on 2nd of August. Wamesema aje Nigerians? Sikiza.
This life, no balance. This is the Kenyan pastor that said that the world will end on 2nd of August. Hey! This is the pastor that said that the world will end on 2nd of August. And I have sold everything I have. I gave out all my money. Because I was thinking the world will end on 2nd of August. Because of this pastor. Somebody should tag this pastor in the comment section. Let him come and explain. Let him come and explain, because 2nd of August have passed. The war did not end. Hey! Did the angels forget to blow the trumpet? Or were they sleeping? Somebody should tag this pastor. Because I know that Kenyan people don't lie. Kenyans don't lie. Okay. Even if they lie, it's only Kasongo ye. Nobody younger. Kasongo manawe. Kenyans don't lie now. Rono. Somebody should tag this pastor. Let him come and explain. Oh, ha! Dami yonge. Unke. Ungere. Unke. Dami yotukuta. Tukuta. Utuku.
I've always wanted to ask you this, Prophet. Why you? Why are you the one whom the Lord speaks to? Why you? Do you ask yourself that sometimes? Because the dreams that you see can be scary sometimes.
Exactly, you know. Well, I know that I don't have much time, even in our busy schedule. Right now, we have a lot of meetings across the globe, you know. And every month is fully engaged, and every nation is so hungry for this message of righteousness, the message of restoration and the revival. We just came back from Venezuela. The cripples got up and walked. It was broadcast live across the globe. It was streamed over the internet. Babies that were born blind, the eyes open. And then the message of righteousness was preached and the coming of the Messiah. There is a great hunger for this across the globe. But listen to this. I may not have enough time to sit down and say, Lord, why me? Because God is sovereign. He's totally sovereign. He chooses whom he speaks to. Only he knows why he speaks to one person and says, go tell them. Only he is God Almighty. And so when he privileged me, he blessed me to be his friend, whom he can share with things, and send me to his people, even having seen as a watchman, seeing what is coming, and sound the trumpet, say, be careful. I see some people coming. I see things coming. It's such a privilege, so much of a privilege that I cannot even question. But let me tell you, the underlying factor is that it is so humbling even to walk into a country and tell them a historic earthquake that you've never seen is coming. For example, Haiti, they had not seen such an earthquake since 1770. Generations were born and died without seeing it. And so when you walk there and begin to proclaim it, at times they even doubt. And then when it happens, you see the entire globe, the complete four ends of the earth, gripped with fear. So it's very humbling even to be the friend of the Lord, the friend of Jehovah. And so for Kenya, I would still insist that if Kenya will not repent and turn to the Lord, there will still exist a perpetual controversy between the Lord and the land. And that can only bring affliction.
Then video ingine ni kwamba guys, Gen Z wameonekana wakiclash. Kuna Gen Z alikuwa na clash na Kajos pale Nairobi, huku wakijaribu kumsnatch bike yake. Unaona watu wangu, this time round unaona hao vijana wamejamu siku hizi. Hakuna mchezo. Angalia.
Haina mambo. Yangu na mtanipea. Yangu na mtanipea mamda. Ni mala. Achana na mimi wewe. Achana na mimi. Nini? Achana na mimi. Guapo afande. Yangu na mtanipea. Chunga ukikuza hii. Yangu na mtanipea.
Ile ina shida record ina.
Yangu na mtanipea hii sura hii.
Record.
Sijarusha kitu. Sijarusha bda. Sijarusha kitu yote. Haina mambo. Haina mambo, nyinyi mabda. Mimi wacha nikwambie. Sijamkataza, mimi nimemwongelesha. Haina mambo. Nimemwongelesha, amenifanyia nini jamaa?
Kama hajakuelewa kuja tuongee na wewe, tunaweza kusaidia. Lakini si ufanye fraka kama tunafanya.
Haina mambo. Haina mambo. Haina mambo.
Then clip ingine ni kwamba Kenyans wameendelea zaidi creating clips about Professor Kithure Kindiki. Hii mambo ya ona mimi naweza kosa base. Sikiza.
Nani akose base?
God have mercy upon us.
Unajua hii madharau ndio inasumbua tu watu na mimi nakaa kama mtu anaweza kosa base mimi. Nani akose base?
God have mercy upon us.
Unajua hii madharau ndio inasumbua tu watu na mimi nakaa kama mtu anaweza kosa base mimi. Kiniangalia vizuri.
Unaona watu wangu, mtu anajaribu kabisa kuongeza sauti, haoni sauti kitoka. Na huyo ni Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. So now guys, yesterday Moses Kuria alijaribu kuzungumza. Akasema kwamba alikuwa anapeana warning especially kwa wale viongozi ambao wanaongoza hii taifa, ambao wako ndani ya government ikiongozwa na Rais William Samoei Arap Ruto. Na nataka usikize because huyu jamaa resign na akatuambia kwamba yeye mambo ya politics ameachana nayo. But plan yake ni gani? Kabla tusikize, ensure umelike video na nasema thanks for your great support kwa hiyo like yako. Kwa hivyo guys, huyu ni Moses Kuria. Sikiza.
Viongozi takuwasi sana viongozi ambao tumekuwa hapa kwa siasa kwa muda mrefu. Mimi sasa naweza kuongea vyovyote kwa sababu nimestaafu kwa serikali na kwa siasa. Na hiyo kadosi ukuje nikupatie kopi ya vile mtu anaachana na hii maneno na unaishi maisha mazuri. Mimi sasa naamka ile saa nataka kuamka na hakuna mtu ananisumbua. So kadosi usiogope. Lakini nataka kuambia viongozi kwamba hii nchi sio yetu. Hii nchi sio wazee. Hii nchi ni ya watoto wetu. Na ile miaka tumekuwa na mtu kama Kadozi kwa uongozi ni miaka karibu 30 na kitu. Tulikuwa na nafasi ya kuiharibu hii nchi. 1992 hatukuharibu. 1997 hatukuharibu. Hiyo miaka yote hatukuharibu Kenya. Kenya imesimama. Isikuwe ni sisi sasa tutaharibia watoto wetu nchi. Waje tuachie nchi, wakitaka kuharibu wenyewe waharibu, lakini tupatie watoto wetu ile nafasi ambao sisi tulipatiwa. Manake mimi naangalia vile hii nchi inaenda, padri tuombe maombi mingi sana. Mimi naona hatuendi vizuri. Na mimi naona Mungu vile tumetoa kafara hapa katika ibada ya misa, Mungu anataka kafara pia. Na atapita na watu hapa. Na mimi ndio nikasema wacha nijiondoe asipite na mimi. Kwa sababu mimi naona Mungu atachukua watu wawili, moja wawili tu. Aseme sababu sitakasirikia hao wote. Wacha nipite na KJ na Kadosi. Kwa hiyo tuchunge sana. Sababu Mungu akikasirika hana dawa nyingine isipokuwa kafara. Na atapita na watu wengine wakubwa sana hapa. Mimi nimejiondoa hapo kwa sababu sitaki Mungu apite na mimi. Kwa sababu tumemkasirisha Mungu. Na padre atawaambia na atawahakikishia Mungu akikasirika lazima moshi ipande juu na ni moshi ya kafara. Ole wako kama itakuwa ni wewe mheshimiwa Imotoko ama speaker Ngodi, uchunge Mungu asipite na wewe. Na mimi naomba hii kitu kimoja. Siku ya Ijumaa, siku ya Jumapili ijayo itakuwa tarehe 10 mwezi wa 8 2025. Mwaka wa 2027 Mungu akitujalia tutachaguana tarehe 10 mwezi wa 8. Tuko miaka 2 imebaki. Tafadhali wananchi, wewe uwe wa 1 term, wewe uwe wa 2 term, tusimame na Kenya long term. Mungu abariki na Mungu alinde. Asante sana.
Unaona guys, Mungu atapita na watu kama President William Ruto. Because now kama aliwapatia hizi positions wacheze vizuri, watunze wa Kenya, wafanyie wa Kenya mambo ambayo walikuwa wamejaribu kupromise. But now wanaenda kinyume na matarajio wa Kenya. So now what next? Maybe Mungu atajaribu kustrike against them. So now tunataka tusikize jinsi ambavyo hii mambo ya e-citizen inaendelea hapa nchini Kenya. Because now hakuna eti serikali inapata pale kwa e-citizen. Ni nani ana own hii e-citizen? Watu wangu. Senator Nyutu pale kwa TV47. Sikiza.
Huenda shilingi bilioni 11 zimepotea kwenye mfumo wa serikali wa malipo ya e-citizen. Ripoti ya mkaguzi wa hesabu za serikali inaonyesha kuwa serikali haimiliki mfumo huo kikamilifu. Wabunge wa kamati ya bunge kuhusu uhasibu sasa wakitaka mfumo huo kufungwa mara moja, wakiutaja kama uporaji wa mali ya umma. Mwandishi wetu Emmanuel To anatuarifu zaidi.
I think I would want to start by saying that the reason why this e-citizen was actually procured in the first place was to, improve and enhance revenue collection, which ideally is a good thing. And even at the county level, anytime that we digitize revenue collection, of course, there is a rise in the revenue collected. So ideally, electronic revenue collection systems are the most ideal thing to have because of course they are able to arrest the situation where there is corruption through manual revenue collection systems. But then for me the most urgent thing that we should think about and address is the ownership of this particular platform. Why it is privately owned is something that we may need answers for. Because, of course, when it's privately owned, then you open yourself to mismanagement of the system, intended mismanagement if the owner of the system I don't know why the president would insist that even after this particular audit committee and other, Kenyans have recommended, departure from it, that why he should insist on continuing in this particular system. Because again, remember, there is a lot of money that Kenyans are charged, through M-Pesa, and to be able to, to make these payments. So I don't want to accuse the president of having any particular commercial interest in the whole thing. But then very many questions would arise from his insistence on continuation with a particular system that everybody, including the Auditor General, the Audit Committee now in the House, that everybody else is agreed that we should do away with this system and probably think about bringing in a system that is that will be convenient and that will, of course, seal the loopholes. Why the president insists on that? Probably DMM, who supports the president with all his soul and mind, should be able to give us answers. Otherwise, but I want to commend him for agreeing with everybody that this is a serious problem that should be addressed, because we cannot afford to have loss of public funds, especially with the situation that we are in, that even free education is at risk of actually being taken away from Kenyans. So when we see this kind of pilferage, then we get very concerned, because we badly need funds even to repay debt. So something must be done, and done very urgently, about this particular. I am very worried about this particular move by the U.S., especially through the senator in charge, who is the chair of the Foreign Relations Committee in the U.S., I think, Congress. Because it means, and it has been reported here, that we could, we risk losing the military and intelligence support that we have been having from the U.S. I do not fear, withdrawal of military support more than withdrawal of intelligence. And why do I say that, Fred? Because, through this, cooperation with the U.S., especially relating to intelligence, we have been able to nab terrorism. So that if we lose U.S. support, especially on intelligence, because they have, I think, more advanced intelligence, network and technology, I think then Kenya will be at risk once again of more terrorist attacks. And that is something that makes me shudder. And I think this is something that we should take with a lot of seriousness, because we may lose funds for health, for even education, and for anything from the U.S., but we cannot afford to lose the cooperation with the U.S. on intelligence, especially because, like I've said, of the exposure that would put us, exposure to terrorism. And this is something, because it's not something that is just, protectionist, as we may want to think. Of course, the U.S. quoted, our closeness with China. That one, I think I can dismiss that as, something that is self-serving and of course, something that is selfish on the part of the U.S. And I cannot sit here to pontificate and say and present the U.S. as an angel. There are many things that the U.S., of course, gives us conditions that we cannot accept. The U.S., for example, wants us to recognize gay rights, which in our African context and our faith, we cannot accept. But then there are issues that the U.S., through senatarists, that the U.S. has raised. Abductions, killings, dalliance with RSF. Those are serious issues, and those are not issues that we can just dismiss and say the U.S. is protectionist, and that is why it is threatening Kenya, or with having it with the drone as a NATO ally. I mean, we should address the issues on the table, the issues that we are directly answerable to. Why do we still have abductions? Why do we have killings? Why is the president as a person maintaining links and dalliance with the people who are known to be killing thousands of people, women and children. Like, I mean...
The collections, I think, trebled. Today, none other than CS Treasury said, the question of liberation of cash balances across government departments and sagas is now important that we have a common pool where at the end, any cash balances in sagas are known. So the visibility of collections and balances is important. It is not in dispute. And that is what the president has said. I want to be, or Kenyans to be able to see, I want to be able to see where is our problem. Even with Hustler Fund, the going in of the money is correct. But when we come to disbursement and use, the implementation is our problem. In whose hands is the implementation? It is in the hands of individuals and technocrats supervised by boards. And therefore, we must be able to home in the action. Who must we hold to account?
Right.
In terms of the vision, and the vision here is that we must be able to digitize revenue collection. And even when you go to KRA, the question of e-teams was meant to digitize revenue collection as opposed to where a KRA officer walks into my office and attempts to enforce revenue collection. The visibility of the money coming in is desirable for everybody.
All right.
Our Achilles heels is the disbursement and use. That is where all of us without exception must trail our sights and our guns, and people, heads must roll.
Allow me to welcome David Kiplagat.
We see.
Okay. I want us to just speak about the person who is the current holder of that office, who recently, just earlier this week, did a sort of self-appraisal of his performance so far in office. And of course, that self-appraisal of President William Ruto has a direct bearing on your ambition to be president. I'd like us to listen together to what he had to say, and then we'll hear your reaction. This is President William Ruto on why he is best suited to continue running the country.
Nimekuwa mjumbe miaka 15. Nimekuwa naibu wa rais miaka 10. Sio experience inatosha? Mimi sio mzee sana. Si mimi ni kijana, mimi naelewa kufanya maneno. Ama namna gani? Mimi nimesoma ya kutosha. Hatujawahi kuwa na daktari ambaye ni rais wa nchi. Mimi ni mtu naelewa. Mimi nimezaliwa huko mashinani. Sasa shida ya Kenya mimi naelewa. Sasa mimi nitasema nimekosa kufanya hii kazi kwa sababu gani? I have no reason. I don't have an excuse. So I have to do the difficult job. Hii kazi yote ambayo mimi nafanya, kazi ngumu, ni kwa sababu there has never been an opportunity for a person with the experience I have, with the education I have, with the knowledge I have in Kenya. So I must do it. I have combined all my predecessors, you know. I have the courage of Jomo. I have the understanding of Moi. I have the education of Kibaki. And I have the plan we shared with Uhuru Kenyatta. I have no excuse than to do everything that needs to be done in this nation. Transforming our health provision, transforming our infrastructure development, that is the assignment that I have. Nani miaka miwili tu peke yake. Tell me what's going to happen in 5 years. Tell me what's going to happen in 10 years. Tell me what's going to happen in 20 years. You will not recognize Kenya because it will be a different place because of housing.
So, he says he's got combined all the good qualities of all his predecessors. You, a senator, want to unseat this?
There is, if you look at the Constitution, we have got 2 provisions. There's qualification and there's suitability. Article 73 talks of suitability. Article 99 talks of qualifications. He's talking about qualifications, not suitability. And I'm very happy he did not say he has integrity. He never told us he has integrity. Look at all those attributes he has given himself. None says he has integrity, that he cannot steal from us, that he cannot mismanage the economy. He's just saying he's gone to school, he has been in parliament, he has been whatever, but he's not telling us he has got integrity. What did he do in parliament? What is his track record in parliament? What is his track record as a minister? What is his track record as a president? And I agree with him that if he is allowed to continue, we shall not recognize Kenya. Kenya will be a basket case. It will be dead, it will be gone. So I fully agree with him that if we allow him to continue, Kenya will not be there. We will not recognize it. And if we have already, Kenya is in the national anthem. So if we can't recognize Kenya in the national anthem, it will not be the Kenya we know. That will be a destroyed country. And I think he's very, very committed to achieving that. Then look at the last thing, that housing. Right now, as we speak here, there's a big crisis in Busia. It began about 1 week ago. The ATC, the Graduate Training College, which was designed, when they designed Masinde Muliro, they designed the Sangalo College, then Busia, they designed the Agricultural Training Center. This gentleman has decided to put there affordable housing. Where are farmers going to train? All these things. He has put affordable and Busia again in somewhere in a disused airfield in Funyula. So he's just creating a market for cement and building bars and all these building materials, where I think he's heavily invested and he's just trying to make a kill for himself. He's a man who serves himself. Look at the ego that he portrays. Look at the narcissism that comes out from his own mouth. Look at the self-worship that has just come out from his own mouth. That's a sick man. He's not a normal man, he's sick. He thinks that is the best thing that God has created on this earth. He is not. We are all made in the image and likeness of God. You cannot say you can combine all these people into one. Look at that self-worship, that narcissism, that blindness. That's a man who cannot lead. That's a man to be led, not to lead. But coming down back to the question of governance in this country, and you ask me, are there people you cannot work with? But people I will not be able to work with will be people who have stolen from this country.
Okay, let's perhaps run through the list. We have Martha Karua, who has not ruled out that she won't run for president in 2027. Your thoughts on?
I've not done an audit of any of these people to establish whether they've done or not. And if it comes to a point of having one to go together, I'll have to do a thorough assessment of the individual to establish what kind of background they have. And I think there is a lot of knowledge out there, there's a lot of information out here that can help you understand each of these people. Anybody who has grabbed land, that's public land, anybody who has stolen from the public coffers and stuff, the people have been sued for corruption and stuff, I'll want to find them unsuitable to associate with.
What about people who've been impeached?
Well, I voted no to the impeachment of Gachagua. Because what happened in Parliament was shameful. First of all, we did not have a law for impeaching a deputy president. We used the law for impeaching the president. The Constitution, Article 250, Clause 2, is very clear that you must amend necessary modifications to create an impeachment procedure. So the impeachment of Gachagua for me was a witch hunt.
So
that managed to succeed. And it was a very shameful way it was conducted. So I don't think it is something I can hold up that it was normal business.
So you voted no for his impeachment. Was that due to a procedural technicality or a legal one?
There were two things.
Pointed out. Or is it because you believe that he is a man of integrity and was not guilty of the accusations that were placed before him?
Well, what I know is that he was accused of things that required the OCS to handle, not the Senate. when you accuse somebody that he messed up the brother's will, honestly, this is a man who is a deputy president. He does not enjoy immunity from prosecution. He can be taken to law enforcement. And that's why I was saying that it was wrong to use the standard for impeaching the president to impeach the deputy president. Because the president cannot be taken before law enforcement. The president is immune to it. In fact, like today I was seeing something in the newspapers, an advocate was writing and saying, is the president immune from everything? Is it possible that if the president's wife wanted to divorce him today, would the president be immune? Would that woman have to wait until he's out of office? Or things like those. But what I'm saying here is that the vice president does not enjoy immunity from prosecution. The list of things proffered against him were matters that could be handled through law enforcement. I don't see why they had to be brought to the Senate.
But what were your thoughts around him and his conduct as deputy president? Because there was a lot in terms of the accusations that he was preferring a tribal agenda with some of the statements that he'd made about shareholders and who receives development from the government. What are your thoughts around him?
And that was the flaw. That's why the thing about that is that Mr. Kajagwa was not alone in that. Gachagua, Mr. Wetangula and Mr. Mudavadi were promised 30%. Whether they cashed it or not, I don't know. So there was that thing, these people shared this country, they carved the country up. And the reason was that the presidency is imperial. It controls all the money. So they to begin trying to share something out. And so, maybe because Mr. Wetangula and Mr. Mudavadi had their political parties, they were able to negotiate. Mr. Gachagua, I think, belonged to the same political party with the president. So maybe he could not have a way of negotiating. But when you looked at the evidence that was brought in the Senate, that was played out there, this guy was basically enforcing the MOU. Flawed as it was, I could not hold it against him that he was saying that his people were promised this because they came into this arena as tribes. They never came in as Kenyans. So they came in as tribes. And so everybody to fight for his group. And if you can look at it, look at what happened in health. They've had changes in health until Mr. Dwale came in. But look at the two changes, the two led CSS. Were basically people from Bungoma, you see. So this thing was shared. We cannot say it was not shared. Mr. Weta was promised to be Speaker of the National Assembly. He resigned his position as a senator and he went and they picked it up. Mr. King was promised to be the Speaker of the Senate. He's the Speaker of the Senate. So if Mr. Gachagua was promised something and was not given, for heaven's sake, he had the right to blow the vuvuzela and say, my friend, where's my deal? So that's what came out on the face of it. So, but if that was the issue, we have got expertise. We have got the National Integration, what is it called, Commission?
NCIC.
Yeah, NCIC. Yeah. We should have had a report from NCIC. Nobody made a complaint to NCIC. Some of these things, if somebody is driving a tribal agenda, it's even a criminal. You can prosecute him. He's just our deputy president. So why it had to be politicized and weaponized to a point whereby this guy had to be hoarded out the way he was is something I don't understand whether he's a good man or bad. I am a man who believes that you give the devil his due.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you work with him?
I would work with him, why not? But it will be on the question of the ideological framework.
Do you believe?
I am a civic Republican.
Okay, so from what you've seen, in his public life, do you feel like your ideologies are a match?
I've not seen an ideology emerge from any of the opposition camp, and I think I think President Ruto has asked the opposition to the so-called united opposition to show its policy.
Yeah.
I think President Ruto has been challenging them on that ground. So I've also not seen a policy framework that has come from there, other than one term and Ruto must go.
If there is a policy that you agree with, you would work with, say,
if there's a policy,
president?
If the policy framework that begins with dismantling the executive presidency I will support anybody who helps us achieve the emancipation of Kenya. And remember, I'm not using the word liberation. I'm using the word emancipation, the emancipation of Kenyans. Because in my estimation, if we may use biblical terms, the march to Canaan is not from Egypt. It's from Babylon. We need Nehemiah, not Joshua, to lead us. So if we are going to have that, and we have a clear policy agreement, not an agreement of tribes, okay? That agreement of tribes, I cannot be part of it. But if there's a clear position, as a civic Republican that I am, I'm not a neoliberal, I'm a civic Republican. As a civic Republican, then I look at that and I say, okay, we are going to have small government, we are going to stress production, we are going to ensure that we want to see rich Kenyans on the grassroots, we want to make Kenyans wealthy on the grassroots, we want to reduce taxation, we want to see people with disposable income so that at the month end you can go in your local shopping center and if you want to improve your house, you are able to pay for somebody to weld a window for you, somebody to come and paint for you, and then we rotate the money in the economy by allowing people to keep money in their pay slips. If that clear agenda comes out, that we are not going to allow public office to be used for private gain, that we are going to punish thieves who steal from the public, that we are going to recover all the stolen assets, public assets that have been stolen, we are going to recover and bring them. I don't care whether the man is a saint, as long as he supports that agenda. And we agree on that agenda and we implement it. And of course, if he has stolen that agenda, we'll lock him up.